Welcome everyone, this is Five Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Edwin,
Hi, hi.
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Guarendis,
Hello, everyone.
and Calabathian.
Yo.
Hello everyone. Let us now go into the news for this week, where it involves release notes. I know, what else is new? We had update 32.0.7, which was released on April 6th. And in this update, a special note, Tier 4 of the Hidden Horde of Abnakara debuted on Thursday, April 7th, with Tier 5 would be released later in April. Guessing with update 33 perhaps? The Leading the Charge deeds for all tiers will remain active until 3 a.m. Eastern on May 19th. And also, for the Hidden Horde of Abnakara, Primal Frost Hearts summoned enemies are now similar to those found in the Gauntlet. They have significantly lower health, but gain a mechanic in tiers 4 and 5. Remove the worms from the final wave of enemies in the Primal Frost Hearts encounter in tier 3+. Adjusted the Frozen Breath anti-exploit that targets randomly on tiers 1 through 3 and higher threat on tier 4 to 5. Randomly in tiers 1 to 3 and its highest threat on tiers 4 to 5. Okay. And I think we sometimes say anti-exploit, that means monster exploit. And additional mechanics have been added to all 3 boss encounters in tiers 4 and 5, just to make it spicier when you up the tier.
You know what?
What?
No, that was just my, you throw something. You know what? Make it spicier. Lord.
Yes, make it. Yeah. So, yes, they're going to have those spicy ukresh with the dragon, right?
We're going to have a crawfish boil in the middle of Hidden Horde.
Yes.
Anybody got some garlic butter?
Yes, and that concludes the update 32.0.7 release notes. But we also had a third beta build for update 33, so a little bit more work in the Yonder Shire. And on top of this, they're also still having more adjustments to the class updates, where it looks like there are a few more things added to the brawler in this.
Bunch of stuff on the Lore Master.
A bunch of stuff on the Lore Master. It's just that I'm not going to talk too much about these unless someone specific wants to talk about a specific point, or wait for most of these for when update 33 comes out. So the one thing
I was about to say that if I wasn't sure about what you were fixing to mention, but I know during the raid we did last night, someone mentioned that they were making the brawlers a little more powerful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the lore masters, they were tweaking some stuff because they are apparently blaming the lore masters for all of the lag.
Yes, I believe that I have a feeling that's probably the reason for many of these things. I was going to talk about Sikkim, but Sikkim is probably one of the main ones that's being changed because of the lag thing. Where Sikkim, which brings out a copy of each of the pets in order to fight for you.
Like, it is the most awesome Lore Master skill.
Wonderful, wonderfully awesome. Horrendous on lag during a raid. Unfortunately, they've decided.
I think they should leave it in and like make it so you can only use it like once in a raid, or like, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, they replaced it with a murder of crows. Now I'm just wondering. I guess they must be using different graphics on the murder of crows so that all those crows, because they're only
Well, the murder of crows
entities.
is just one critter instead of like all the critters.
Right.
Isn't there a war steed skill like that for the Lore Master?
I think that's what was probably inspired by.
Well, of course, Bjornies also have bees, so they could like reskin the bees larger and feathered.
Very big bees.
That go caw.
Now instead of bees, it's very big bees.
Big bees.
But no, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea that it's all the lore master's fault, because I know it's a resource hog in instances, as they mention, but when you don't have any lore masters in your group and like in a raid, and you're still like the entire group just like can't move for 5 seconds in the middle of a battle, I mean, there's no lore masters. Why is it still doing it? I mean, is it lore masters across the game doing something at that very moment? And it's just, I mean,
No, at that point, it's probably the runekeepers.
huh.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say,
mean, yeah,
everybody
we've known
knows
for a very long time that runekeepers and lore masters are resource hogs because, you know, the Moors. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
was
like,
gonna say,
dude.
all I can hope is that Frades will still continue to also include RKs so that we know that they're coming.
Oh, that's the hint. You start hitching and suddenly say, "Okay,
Oh, and you
Runekeeper
also get
coming."
that message on the side about how your help me out, guys.
Reduced awareness.
Reduced awareness, yeah, it's reduced awareness, and it's like, oh, when you're on the moors, that means that RKs and lore masters are nearby. But in the middle of a raid, it's like,
It's really annoying to get that message after you've been paused for 30 seconds.
it's like, no crap.
It's like, gee, I never would have guessed.
I mean, my fear is that they're going to go and nerf a bunch of these cool things for like lore masters for the resource hogging, and it's still not going to help.
Well, there's probably a large number of things that need to be optimized, which unfortunately, it's a whack-a-mole game. Unfortunately, that's what it is. Oh well. Let's go
Do you
into
think
quest.
Sorry, I was just thinking, I mean, do you think it has to do with like the particle effects of the skills? Because I know that
It could be, because it's also including Gust of Wind, Burning Embers, and Sticky Gourd, which I know are also like big. I mean, the Lore Master just in general has been a huge resource hog, which RK was too, until they nerfed the bubble on the RK. So
I just know that even like atmospherics, like snow in Azanul Bazaar or fog in the Vales and places like that, it can be it can cause my CPU to want to grind. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Pine, go ahead.
So we have the story of the birds and the bees, and it's all the lore master's fault.
Yep.
Yes.
Actually, it's Radagast's fault, because anyway.
Radagast's fault. So okay.
We'll go with that. I'm good with blaming the wizard. When in doubt, blame a wizard.
Luminori could tell us whether it was the wizard's fault or not, since that one came from the chat. Anyway, let's go to quests and adventure areas. Deed Vanguard of Central Gondor now rewards players with a cracked Rohirrim tracery rather than an obsolete blemished symbol of the Elder King.
Which I still have some of those. I'm like, I found them in my vault. I was like, crap.
Oh, missions.
What are you doing here?
Yes. Missions bonus legendary item boosts will now award players with an incomparable tracery rather than heritage runes, which are usable on any players below level 115. Removed obsolete travel routes from Hrimbark.
What?
I don't know what they mean by obsolete travel route in there. Maybe there was one that they had. I'm assuming that they're saying that there was a stray travel route that was appearing in there that doesn't exist anymore because of the reworking of the Trollshall's travel routes.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Like maybe it was sending you to
Hrimbark
an
is in
old
the Misties, though.
Yes, but I think it has a Rivendell destinations. So if it was hooked up to the wrong version of Rivendell, then maybe that could have been a problem. dugout hobbit hole in Breeland.
Wait, what?
I know. I thought, huh?
In where?
We're doing remodeling.
Remodeling. I thought, what is that? Bill Fernie's idea or something?
I mean, I think we all want to bury Bill Fernie, but I don't think that's what we meant.
I kind of want to put Bill Fernie in there as well as Harry Goatleaf, just because of his name.
Why? I just don't like his sass when you get to Bree.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And also concerning travel routes, that they have. I don't know if they mentioned it earlier there, but I was going in Bulwer in there, and I noticed in there that the travel routes for the Shire have been adjusted, and that means looks like most of the stable masters in the Shire are going to all the stable masters in the Shire rather than just one or two of them.
Wow.
And I saw something called Swift Travel.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Wait, okay, it is the 9th. This is not an April Fool's, right?
I saw that while I was in Bulwer this week.
Now, have they updated it yet so that the hobbits have their own, like, mount for travel, like hobby horses?
Lumaks?
Lumaks would be better, but
Tiny little Lumaks.
but slightly more.
Actually, I think hobby horses
unlikely.
for Shire travel would be hilarious.
I think it would be really fun. I mean, the
Especially
dwarves.
for slow travel.
The dwarves have their goats and their pigs, and the elves now have their elk. I think the hobbits need a special mount, and I think the hobby horse would be the most obvious already in-game mount for the hobbits.
Yes, absolutely. I am behind this 100%, especially for slow travel routes. Make it happen, SSG.
Okay, hobby horses for hobbits.
I think it would be fun, don't you? And then you'd see these high elves like come to the Shire, and they like ride up all nice and proud to the stable master, and suddenly like trade in their horse for a hobby horse. It'd be awesome.
Well, when have any of the elves ever ridden a hobby horse? We've had this discussion.
Oh yeah, yes, but the high elf ones, they'll be topped with a sunflower.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be so cool.
And also added mailboxes to Belfalis and Eastfold housing social spaces,
Nice.
and adjusted placement of Forsting to hopefully really fix it. This time I mean it. Yeah, we'll see. Apparently, they're having some
thought that said
trouble there.
fixed adjust placement of frosting to hopefully really fix it. I was like, what?
Well, it's a cold worm. If I remember right, I think that's the cold worm.
Looks like it would be the name of a cold worm.
Which actually, frosting would be funny.
Frosting would be working just as well. Yes.
When I read that, I was like, oh my goodness, who's been reading the ESO notes? They have stuff like that all the time.
Yes.
And thank you. It was funny.
And also for miscellaneous, symbols of Celebrimbor and symbols of the Elder King should not be disenchantable for ancient script. The blemished level 100 version of these items can no longer be disenchanted. They will still be used to craft obsolete legendary items for their cosmetics.
Hold up, wait a minute, I'm confused. So they can't be disenchanted, but up before it said something about them and wait, what? We were talking earlier tonight about those same things, because I remember I was looking at them and I found them in my vault, but they're not, you can't disenchant them, but you get rewarded.
Well, you can now, but you won't be able to when this goes live.
Okay. So I better
So
do that.
if you have any and you want to disenchant them, do it now.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. I was like, hold up,
Okay.
I'm a little confused.
Remember, this is Borer I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Forge Masters will no longer offer tell you have Laura had the offer tell you about imbuement. Yes, because it's not exactly a tutorial that you need anymore. Fixed stat scaling on several captain standards. In particular, Anorian standards were providing too much morale and have been corrected down to what they should be. Gunabad tier standards were providing morale that didn't scale properly and now provide the correct amount of vitality instead. Captains using Gunabad tier standards should see their maximum morale increase slightly as a result of this fix.
Oh, Lord.
The size of the housing decoration item Hremo Frostheart in effigy has been appropriately increased.
Who wants that thing's heart in their house? I mean, really. I want to cut it into little pieces, set it on fire, and scatter the ashes all over Gundabad. Stupid dragon.
The spear's innate bleed spear pierce now correctly scales with item level. The embedded browser has been updated in 64-bit game clients. The High Elf, Bjorning, Runekeeper, and Warden are free to all accounts. Remember, this is for update 33. Yes.
Mhm.
So that's the thing that they were promising in the producer's letter. And of course, also promised in the producer's letter, the access to all quest and instance content released up through Helm's Deep will be free to all accounts, and VIPs getting access to all expansion quest and instance content up to prior to Gunabad. And that's it for what's coming up in update 33. We do not yet have a date for that as far as I know. I think my guess is that it's probably the week after next would be my best guess on the matter. But let's head into our store sales. Terry Adwin, what's for sale this week?
Oh, let's see. Our free weekly coupon is a rejuvenation potion ×5, coupon code rejuvenated, and you get 25% off character slots, veteran status, stat packages, and XP boosts now through April 14th.
All right. Then let's head into our site news, where Squirrel has a new series that is starting on community highlights. So I guess this is to fill in part of the gap that we had due to the Beacon being on hiatus. Though he's not going to be talking about concerts or temporary stuff. These are things that he has noticed throughout the community that caught his interest, such as his highlight this week has to do with some LOTRO textures that are being brought up, and this is from, let's see. He gives
With the
his
player
credit
over on Reddit.
Yeah, he's seeing these things over on Reddit, yes. And the first of these is a cute sign in the bridge fields. And we also have one of creatures in Middle Earth, in this case, a salamander. And a strange object in Lotro that looks like a golden garden gnome.
But it's not in a garden. It's in a house somewhere.
Yeah,
It's in a
LOTRO
house.
texture
Okay, it's
of
a
the
house
day.
gnome then. Yeah, okay.
I like
it's
the
a
name.
house gnome.
LOTRO texture of the day. These Travelocity ads.
Speaking of fun things from the community that was shared, does anybody pay attention to Twitter very often and what LOTRO, the actual LOTRO official account posts on there? There was a kin called Warriors of Camelot that were doing the shrew stomp right as the festival ended, and the giant shrew popped out. You know, it aggroes
Right?
Yeah.
on everybody. But the boots disappeared and everything else disappeared, but it started attacking the ones that were playing.
Oops.
And it kept going for quite some time. They called in like kin mates. There was like 5 or 6 of them. They could get it to go running to each of them. Finally, somebody showed up. A lore master showed up, and their cat killed it. But the rest of it was just saying immune. They could have
Huh.
It was very funny though, because they posted a video on YouTube called "Revenge of the Enormous Shrew," and it is hilarious.
So what I hear you saying is that Nibs is really right in, getting his cat to kill the shrews, and therefore he actually is the one that has the right, because we have to go around during the Spring Festival asking how everyone handles shrews. Nibs
Perhaps,
Cotton
but
is like he gets his cat to attack him.
yeah, perhaps, but I don't think Walt is actually doing that.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
Nibs has the right idea, he just doesn't have the right cat.
Yeah. Nibs wins.
That concludes our site news. So let's head into our weekend gaming. And Calabathian, what were you up to?
Well, last Sunday on Girls, I got licked by a huge toad.
Ew.
I know, it kind of caused a little bit of a ruckus because, everything kind of got a little squirrely around. It's like, I was on LSD or something. It was kind of weird. But yeah, we also, in that same instance, fought an Ukrash with a knife. Kind of like that meme with the crab walking around with a knife and he was looking, Ukrash with a knife. And I didn't have the knife, it did, just to be clear. We also, on Tuesday night, lots of story on Tuesday night, that group, but we got some Balrog backstory. It had a name.
That was so great.
I know, it was kind of like, dude, okay. Also, I was kind of, we were going back further and further in history. 6 other times, by the way. And, it was like, going back to, the end of the Second Age and all that. And I'm sitting here playing my high elf at the time going, yeah, I remember this too. Anyway, but I began the new festival that just started in ESO because my little Imperial, brand new, needs money and levels. And B, my little Imperial, brand new, needs to be able to do writs at level 10, and she's like level 8 right now, as of today. And C, Mama needs a new set of Soulfire Dragon Illusion fragments because the ones I got from the Jesters Festival, I actually made the dragon, that pet that goes with it, but it's going to become a pretty golden skin, so I'm going to need another set to make the pet so it will fly around as a pet. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Guarendis, how about you? How was your week?
Well, Guarendis with the Knights of the White Lady and knowledgeable allies. Thank you to Krister and members of Ploy that helped us out on that. Did complete the Hidden Horde raid this week on Tier 1. But we were very happy. It went very smoothly. It maybe took us 2 hours to get through. I mean, I was actually very happy with everybody's performance. I thought, this is great, because we're not a raiding kid normally. We got some new titles. I'm wearing Lost and Found right now because I think that one is hilarious. And a mount, which of course you immediately had to leave Gundabad to see what it looked like, and it's really cool. And then the next day was Deeding Night, and completed the Azanulbazar deeds that day to get a new goat, the Stormhammer goat. I still need one more goat. We'd like to try to do the Balrog, the battle, the raid for Azanulbazar sometime. I'd love to have that goat. But yeah, that was a very successful week. Still very happy at the outcome of Wednesday night. That went better than the last 30 minutes of Girls last week. The Din of Puglak, as Calabathian was mentioning, was a bit too trippy first time in. Next time, though, if there is a next time, hopefully. But next time we'll see if we can take the Ukrash with the knife. again. So my main
bring the butter. Yes.
Yes, we'll warm the butter
Lots of butter.
beforehand.
It's a big
Just have it ready
lots
for
of
when we get done.
Just make sure everybody has saved all of their butter from level 111.
In ESO, my main spent lots of time being a fool on purpose at the Jesters Festival because I love that festival. It's hilarious. And then when the Jubilee, their anniversary, started on Thursday, it's Ritz, and more Ritz. And a bit of crafting survey collecting on the side. I actually have all of the crafting surveys out of the bank and out of my bag. I'm very excited about this. Sanswinda, what did you get up to this week?
Well, I might have been the reason that we were in the Den of Puglock in the first place on Sunday. And it is gorgeous and amazing and fabulously colorful. And all went well for most of it. But then we felt the pain of the first hallucination.
We felt the pain of not knowing the mechanics, but I think Finn gave us a good tip, so next time.
That is true. Not knowing the mechanics and not having a tank probably didn't help. But it was fun. And I listened to a dreaming dwarf in Gundabad, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I got to run, straight down a bunch of stairs, and it felt like it would be only more awesome if I had something like Elytra and could, go flying around for a little bit. But it was pretty fun. And the stairs did have an end, and I did not fall off and die, so that was awesome. And in Final Fantasy XIV, I reached level 30 as a pugilist with Emerlina. And it's been a lot of fun to run around punching things as a little Lullafell. And I went festivaling and crafting survey hunting in ESO this week. Got some Jester festivaling done and some anniversary cake eating. Best way to get event tickets ever. And
to eat cake? Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, isn't it great?
I got my cake today and I was like, let me eat it again. I know I'm not getting any tickets. I want to eat cake.
Right? And the cake looks so cool this year. So
as opposed to last year when it was dripping with blood.
Right? No, this year it looks really nice and edible and everything. And then I did some crafting survey hunting with Guare. And it was fun, good to hang out, and my inventory is much happier now. And I have some more CP, so that was pretty cool. How was your week, Terry?
Well, last week I dipped a toe in the T2 raid and promptly got it cut off a bunch of times, figuratively speaking. By which I mean I joined the T2 raid and we weren't able to make it past the first boss.
Well, we're still not able to. It's okay. But we got really, really close this time.
Also accomplished a lot of story stuff on Tuesday, and Terry got to use her new fish slap emote, which I got right before the end of the festival, so mission accomplished. Also weirdly got a fair amount of edible fish out of puddles in the stone jaws that apparently are deeper than they look. In fact, Piley was fishing in one of them, and I was like, you can fish in that puddle? And then I walked into it and was swimming within about 2 steps.
Blue.
Out of this puddle that it looks like you can almost kind of see the bottom, but no, you can't, because you can't stand on the bottom. So I've made some more level-appropriate food for people and distributed it out. And then I did some story stuff in ESO too. In ESO, there was a thing to check for treasure chests this week, and so I went back to, there's a couple spots in Malabal Tor that I noticed when I was going through where there's almost always a chest because they're really hard to get to. And I stumbled across them because I was trying to get someplace else that I never actually reached. So I got my treasure chest unlocked, and then went back to Reaper's March and finished out some story stuff, and I'm now in Dune in Reaper's March, so I'm close to the end of the zone. But I stopped into the arena, which was really cool. Basically, you fight for a champion of the arena, and you have to fight a lot of things. And I probably would have gotten my butt kicked by most of it, but Bastion was there to help me, so yay. And then I'm contemplating the effectiveness of my most recent Craft the World build, because I decided I didn't want to dig down to the Kraken in the underground, so I went on to Temple of the Four Elements, which is next. And I don't know, I got 7 hours into it, and a monster wave was able to take out my wall in about 2 seconds, so I sort of kind of want to scrap it and start over. I don't know, I'm still deciding. Pineleaf, how was your week?
All right, for my week, I'll begin with my Crick Hollow Brawler, where I learned how to use a War Steed, went through that War Steed tutorial and all. Then I thought, all right, let's really test this out. Let me go against that notorious warband Cinder.
That's a terrible warband to take out on horseback.
I know that.
It's like the worst one to do on horseback because you're in the middle of the fence.
Yes, which is probably why I was completely unable to defeat Cinder on horseback. But I was able to. I eventually had to do it on foot. But anyway, it did help to demonstrate to me, which I got pretty much from the tutorial thing, is that yes, Brawler is just as bad doing on horseback as any other melee class. I just don't like doing melee classes on horseback. And I was thinking, all right, now I'm doing this series on the YouTube series on the Brawler. And what am I going to do about this now that I just don't want to slog through Rohan on it? And I decided it was time to use the Sans Winda system.
I approve already.
Yes. And I decided that, all right, let's Valar my Brawler up to 130. Because what I wanted to do is, because the only things I could think of that I had left to test with the Brawler, because I wanted to test mounted combat, and it was meh at best. And I wanted to test now the class quest at Mordor, simply because that's a class quest. So obviously I had to test that with the Brawler. And the other thing I wanted to test was how upper levels work, because I hear people complaining about the Brawler at upper levels. So that's what I decided to do, is I took Brawler and Valor to 130. I didn't do that with my Crick Hollow Brawler. Instead, I decided to do that with my Langeville Brawler, mainly because Crick Hollow I'm usually soloing, and I thought Langeville, I at least might have an opportunity to play that in Friday Night Fights or with a group or something like that. Or maybe someday in the Tuesday group. Anyways, perhaps I'll get that Brawler into action a little bit more than if I was doing this from Crick Hollow. So I decided to take my Langeville Brawler, leveled up to 130, and started to do Gundabad missions so that I could work on that. Of course, work on my legendary items in order to start getting those up to snuff. I still haven't decided exactly what traceries I want, so they're still a mixed bag. I still have the other equipment is pretty much still what you get when you Valar. So I'm 136 now, so that's meh at best. I did get 2 pieces of equipment that dropped last night, because on Friday Night Fights, my Brawler joined in and we did the stairs and the Fornost Water Wing. So I was able to get a couple of pieces of equipment that way. So I'm starting to work my way up on that matter. And on the Daily Rewards track, I did get a gold tracery today, so that also. So I have a number of things that are starting to work on, but I noticed that the Brawler seems to be doing decently on damage. The trouble that Brawler is having, on at least on my side of it, is that I feel like I have paper for my armor. So that's where things are going. I was even trying to do quite a number of skirmishes and looking at this. And this is where I finally found out, because before I was using a warden quite a bit, but playing with the brawler, I learned just how bad the skirmish soldiers are now. I'm going with an herbalist. When I was
the herbalist is really terrible.
Yeah, I mean, yes, at 130, I'm running Breaching the Necromancer's Gate. Actually, I think 132, and the herbalist was healing me. Remember, this is a fully ranked herbalist. I'm talking about rank 50 for the skills I have. And
Yes, the herbalist spent most of her time healing herself.
No, it wasn't the AI that was bothering me here. I mean, even if ignoring any AI issues, is that when she was healing me, I was seeing the healing come out plus 350.
Ouch!
Plus, now at level 34, 36, I think I see on her higher heals an occasional 1,000. This is for a character with 350,000 morale. This is nothing! We're talking about less than a percentage here being done. And at the beginning of that, we're talking about anywhere from 0.1 to 0.5% that I'm getting from being healed on it. That is broken. So pretty much then, the only reason why I haven't noticed this in before is probably because I had a warden and I tended to run in tanking stance and wardens anyway. So I didn't notice how, and I did. That's right. And I was running.
Well, you get a fair amount of self heals as a warden that you don't get as a brawler.
Right. In this case, the brawler, I only know of a couple of heals. Brawler, I know has one self heal, which a very, very long cooldown on it, and I've had a lot of trouble when I was in the mid 130s being able to finish a skirmish and not getting killed by an encounter. Surviving both of the encounters on first try has been a significant trial at these upper levels in there. Now, I think then that all these changes that they're making, it seems like they're upping the DPS, is so that they could kill things before they get killed, because
that's a plus.
That's a plus.
Always ideal,
right
yes.
now, right, because I'm certainly not killing, because I think I'm killing things at a reasonable pace. I know it's definitely not nearly as fast as I was doing at lower levels, but if you're dying before you have a chance to kill them, obviously it's not fast enough. Now, that means then that, all right, but I was doing this mainly as a before, saying, all right, this is before, and I wanted to compare after. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I decided to Valor at this time, was I wanted to get a before picture of what the brawler is like before the update.
Sure.
And see how it's like, and then I could look at it afterwards, and then seeing, all right, what effects did the change really have to it? So that's why I did it on Thursday. The reason why I waited for Thursday, of course, is I want to say, hey, maybe there's a slight chance it'll be on sale this week. No, it wasn't, but that's another matter. So I got a Valor in there, Valored up in there, and joined Friday Night Fights in there, where we, as I said, we did the stairs and the foremost water wing, so I could start to get some items in there. But we'll see as I level up on that one. And then in ESO, I finished up the Deadlands, which is that section I talked about last week where I learned that, oh yes, there was an actual storyline quest in the Deadlands that I completely didn't know about for the last 6 months, I guess. And after that, I finally finished it, really working hard to finish it in there, and oh yeah! After you finish the Deadlands, they say, oh, now it's time to finish up that Blackwood storyline that we've been leaving you hanging on all this time. I had forgotten the whole storyline about the ambitions and all that stuff, and didn't realize that. Oh yeah, so they never did finish up saying what happened to the ambitions or anything like that. And now I know why, because that finishes up after you take care of the Deadlands. So it all ties up into there. So I finished up the Deadlands, and then I finally finished up the ambition storyline that's associated with Blackwood. So everything is now all done on that, and I am now down to 4 quests in my log. My goal is to have that maybe down to 1 quest at most when that next expansion comes out. Because I remember that before I started to decide to do this, I think I was maxing out my quest log all the time. So I thought, okay, it's time to clean this thing up. And that concludes my week in gaming. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a collection of full LOTRO databases that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. Also, you could use it right from your Discord server with LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 15 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page to support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. There are no emails this week, but if you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. Players Alliance at Players Alliance, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Polyleaf at Polyleaf Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calibathian at Calibathian. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Polyleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.